All right. So, not sure if the intro played, but uh, we're gonna be finishing out the stream right now. So hopefully, I was just checking to see if I can get the right layout going on here. Let's see, set screen. Mm, mm, there you go. So now we got that going. Looks like everything's set up. So we're just gonna get started here. Hopefully that looks good. So we finished yesterday with the nice clean sketch. So then we'll just what else yeah, that was just another sketch. So a new layer, you got an inking tool here, and then we're just gonna get started. So and then actually like so. When it comes to inking, I like to work pretty fast and smooth, except when there's like so much detail, or depending on how much detail I want to add, just so that it doesn't look, too plain or like something's missing. See. All right. I think got most of it. And here comes the cleanup phase where you just want to make sure you got everything right. Nice clean lines, as clean as you can. Even in my early days of drawing, people always complimented my line work or my line quality. Forget the man's eyes. Let's draw those in. Just bring the sketch back to a nice little eye. There we go. I actually just got my eyes checked today, so there's that. Let's see, how's that? There you go. That's better. Let's add some details for the teeth. There we go. And lastly, we dubbed this guy Sickleback, just because of the large spines there. They can act as sickles and slice things. Flip a rip. Make sure everything's nice and proportional. We can get this guy ready for coloring. Not too shabby, I'd say. Just about everything we would need, so. When it comes to coloring, so reference the layer, everything beneath it's gonna have color to it. And then let's see, what's the base color we should do for this guy? What color? So he's got the red. Nice reddish burgundy, maybe. Something kind of like Baragon. Go for a Baragon vibe. This guy. Sorry, you can just kind of drop everything. Just about everything is next. Look at you above. Will either be a darker color. Just fill up everything. Be careful where you drop your colors. Don't drop it on the lines. Just drop it everywhere where it doesn't touch. Makes it way easier. Oh. Anything else? Oh yeah. Always gotta double check your layers. Make sure you're doing it on the right one. Those will be colored separate, but gotta make sure you connect all your lines, or else the color's gonna go everywhere. And then with this, it's pretty easy thanks to the tools you got. So Procreate's always fun for that. Like to airbrush, so that looks nice and natural for the most part. With my style of drawing, it's always my shoulders that get the worst end of it. Because coloring is a pain sometimes. Seeing it come together is like one of my favorite things, but actually doing it is pretty tough. It's a lot of work you gotta put into it. Basic things done. Fill in any gaps. I'm using the ink tool right now, but sometimes I do it just to, if I'm too lazy though, or if it works just as well as any other brush. But let's see claws. Let's see some nice bright claws. It's bright and flashy. Color drop line. And it's easy as pie. Just do like a lighter underbelly of this. That works well. Airbrush. Not good. What do you think? So that's a little more formal. That might work better. Right. If anyone's coming in the chat, sound off in the comments. Let me know if you're an artist yourself or if you have any questions you want to ask in regards to art in general or what you like to do. My main thing is I draw kaiju. I also draw people as well, so I have a little bit of everything when it comes to what I can do. I mostly keep to like a simple art style, so like cartoons, anime, stuff like that. I like to do like a nice blend, but sometimes it's hard to describe my style since, like I said, it's a little bit of everything that I do. I mostly take things from like Dragon Ball, Mob Psycho 100, any Western cartoons, kind of like Avatar, though maybe more into the things like Owl House, stuff like that. Stuff I grew up on or just came to enjoy later on in life. Or if you just want to chill, watch me draw, feel free to do what you like, because hopefully I have music going on in the background. I don't know why I can't hear it on my end through the studio. And by that I mean I use StreamYard to play live, so hopefully there's something going on in the background. But yeah, let's see here. Hopefully I can put my own music, not stuff that I make, but stuff that I can like acquire or hire someone to do if I ever get that far. But hopefully I'll just get more music than the stock stuff they have here, because I've only listened to 1 or 2 tracks from the StreamYard studio. But yeah. As of yet, I have been working on a few commissions, both for personal work and for charity work. And by that I mean I do have a commission tier open where all proceeds from that go towards things like charities, fundraisers, um, animal shelters, since I've just been seeing a lot of that pop up, especially with the fires going on in LA where I'm from. So thankfully we haven't been affected too much by that, but there's lots of stuff happening recently to where either family, friends, coworkers, stuff like that have been really affected by it. So any proceeds from that commission tier specifically will go towards um, things like I said, animal shelters, charities, medical fundraisers too, for people in need of medicine, stuff like that. Just to spread some kindness and things like that. Since whenever I see stuff like that, I always feel bad because I don't have like the funds or the disposable income to really donate to everything I see. So I decided to just make a pool of things where I can set up like a little fund for that. That way I do have that disposable income to just, send money to people who need it. So there's that. And then of course I also just have regular commissions that go to fund myself, anything related to the channel. So getting a better setup. I want to get like a better mic setup, maybe a better webcam, so that I can do more streams that way, or more videos, just to make it easier. Yeah, this all started like when I started joining Zimzilla, uh, his streams and stuff, and uh, pretty much becoming like a part of his like main crew where he does his streams and stuff. Uh, which I'm thankful for his help in every way, and all the other people who come by and watch my stuff. So hopefully you'll be seeing a lot more from me and my work here. And I guess I got base colors done, unless there's anything we might want to add to this guy. This guy we're finishing up from last stream. So we did the inking, and then we just finished up basic colors. So now I just want to think about if there's any other details I want to add in terms of color. Because I work in a cartoonist style, like, things like hyper detail that I typically don't do too much of. And what I mean by that is like there's these cool patterns in Procreate where it goes like materials, things like that. There's this color. I like to use this a lot, or I would like to use that. It makes like a nice pattern there. I think this is too much, but it reminds like real reptiles will have patterns like this, which I think is very cool. I was doing a more realistic style, would probably go somewhere with that, but so that looks cool. But the thing is, if you know Chowder, Chowder the show, yeah, there's like this thing where like they animate the clothes that have patterns like that, and it's just like one, and it looks like the animators are, there's like a background, and the animators like cut out the clothes around that, and it just moves with the, or it stays static and the characters move around it. So that would be neat, but this would be a pain to like animate, since that's mostly the style I aim for. Like this would be pretty easy to animate, since it's simple and not that much detail that an animator would have to continuously draw over and over again. So that way we can just grab it. I'll flip it. Yeah, it's pretty cool. He's got a thick neck, which is full of muscle. Last stream we talked about how if you look at any reptile, all that what you think could be fat is actually just muscle. Sometimes if the reptile's obese, which they can get obese if you overfeed them and stuff, or don't give them enough opportunity to exercise, they'll get fat and obese. But normal reptiles that are healthy will have a nice amount of plump to them, which is actually just thick muscle. Like the kind of alligator, its neck and jaws will be like plump, but that's all muscles to help the jaws function, which is like crocodilians have one of the biggest bite forces of any like animal today. I'm pretty sure it's only rivaled by things like bears, sharks, and stuff, but they're up there. The strongest bite force. And now I do some rendering on this guy. With that, just me adding some shadow. Maybe a little darker than that. There you go. And most animation, TV animation, is pretty flat with its colors, so you won't see that much dynamic rendering or lighting, but I just do like simple stuff. Shade the chest there, so that it's just in shadow. Clean up. There you go. Next to. If you didn't notice, I realized I've been doing everything on the wrong layers. Well, it wasn't too bad since I noticed roughly in time, so just a matter of making sure you're on the right one. So I'm too lazy to. Just about does it for most of that. Now I just gotta figure out background colors. About does it here? This is like for the most part what I would have a completed drawing. Uh, yeah, there's my whole process. So I just wanna let's see, let's do a video. We play. How that looks. Oh, usually that happens when I forget to flip back the canvas. So I guess yeah, I remember. So like you see here, we basically started out with the rough shape of a generic dinosaur monster thing, and then we added more detail to it, stuff that made it more unique. So that could be more of a kaiju. Since when it comes to kaiju, since it means strange beast, you want to have it be a little bit abnormal to what you just see in nature, you know. So you take a dinosaur, you add features of different things and animals. Like I added features from an iguana, different things you would see in kaiju like spikes, armored scales, which exist in nature, crocodiles, birds, things like that. Even they have like armor-ish plating on their scales and stuff on their skin. And then we go into a more detailed sketch, and that's just a little example of like how you can take the basic shapes and whatnot, and just going through and adding more detail to it. And now we're finally getting down to the inking process, where I just go over everything with the final inking and hammer down all the details there. There's different methods to doing everything, but this is just how I do it. I keep everything pretty simple and streamlined. How I color, ink, sketch, stuff like that. Even the rendering, which is just basic shadows, nothing too playful. I probably should improve on like shadows and how I do them, but for the most part, everything's just pretty simple. It's like about 1:40 in time-lapse time. So, and we did this over the span of like 2 days. Um, at least two streams, counting the other one and this one. So, um, that's just gonna finish it off here. But we're still pretty early into the night, so early evening. So I'll probably just stick around. We'll start something new. But that's basically this kaiju here. Let's see, I must add one more thing before you finish it off. Like, let's just go flip it. See the flip the canvas and then this way, fix it. There you go. See? Alright, so there's that. What else we got? What else we got? Here's a drawing that I had going. One of my kaijus, I think I'm gonna name it Razorfin, which I have it so far. And so far, the name I have for this guy is Beastman. He's a kaiju I developed. He's gonna be sort of like an arch rival of Pocho. My kaiju that I have, that's my main OC, if you want to call it that. My main original kaiju. This actually here is the setting in my world, basically my own version of Hollow Earth. You can see in the background, it's basically a cliffside and this big lake here where Razorfin dwells. I'm actually working on a story about Razorfin right now in my head that I might want to jot down soon. But Beastman's basically like an amalgamation of things like the Gargantuas, Sandangara, Aaron's Titan form, and then like the Beast Titan, and then what else? Yeah, just basically that archetype of character was like this like Beast Man type of thing. I might come up with a unique name for him since like most of my kaiju are of species and they each have their own different code names. So I'm just trying to figure that out, but I have that going on. And we also should go ahead and ink this guy. This guy's Wrecking Bull. He's basically another brawler type kaiju, and of course, with my naming convention, I just went with like a wrecking ball there, and he has like bull horns. So Wrecking Bull. That's just what I went by. So let's go ahead and ink this guy since he's pretty much done. You can see I have all my shapes and details that I got going for him, so let's go ahead and get the inking done with this guy. Maybe we can, if anyone wants to see more of my process here, he's basically got like a snapping turtle head. Look at that. Some bad dreams. Snapping turtles have these gnarly jaws. Probably one of my favorite turtle species. I remember as a kid I always wanted like a pet snapping turtle. I would watch videos of like baby snapping turtles since that's what I always wanted. A baby snapping turtle. So we all had like a dream pet as a kid that realistically probably wasn't the best idea. Since snapping turtles can take out your finger with just one snap. That's a little scar there. There. Small eyeball. I'm pretty good. got almost through with the coloring of any armor plating, specs like that. Wrecking Bull sort of just came to my mind as like I wanted a character that was like beefy, tank like. And snapping turtles are like the perfect thing to go for since they're living tanks. Any turtle is really, but snapping turtles in particular are just like they're built different in a way that they kept their dinosaur gene. Because if you look at their tails, they're basically like Stegosaurus tails with all the spikes and stuff that's on them. Their bite force is like, for their size, probably one of the strongest. And then they're just like so cool. They have that cool factor that most reptiles have, but theirs is like 20% cooler. Yeah. Perfect. Let's add some detail up here. Oh. Yo, that look cool. Let's see on screen. There you go. Got that 6 snapping turtle head, bull horns, a wrecking ball, very deadly. Hello. Don't forget like that. Check that out. Coming along pretty well, don't you think? Now we're just working on some rendering. Highlights and the spikes. Let's see. We'll do some shadow. Like I said, I just do a little bit of shadow here. Nothing too fancy or dynamic so far. I've done a few different dynamic pieces in the past for some just for some, trying out experimentation. I did do like a set piece with Pocho not too long ago. I think that was also back when he still had his like arm blades, because if you don't know Pocho, my main kaiju, I used to have him designed with like some blades on his arms, his forearms. But I thought it was a little redundant since I mainly wanted him to be like a punching brute kaiju. So I thought the blades would be pretty redundant in that. Switching between like swinging the cut versus swinging the punch thing. So I just made it so that his main attack is just his fists, because his fists are basically like big, beefy UFC style punching gloves. So that he can hit with the same force of like a battleship's cannons, That's like a tagline for his character bio. You might be able to punch stronger than that, but that's just like the basic tagline for the character. I think it's cool to have like character bios that have like the catchphrase for it, or just like a cool stat that you can just repeat. And it has some bearing on for like power scaling and stuff, but In terms of kaiju, I think you don't have to be too destructive with them. Most kaiju are only as powerful as they are relative to the story. Like anyone can kill the dinosaurs from Jurassic Park pretty easily, but in a situation where the characters don't have firearms, it becomes pretty serious, so it ups the stakes. And that's why like Alan Grant like the gun jams so that now he doesn't have the gun anymore, because with the gun he can take out those raptors pretty easily. But it's just relative to the story being told. That's how strong a kaiju should be. And this guy's pretty strong because he has like both front and back weapons, so he can just swing his head or swing his tail to defeat enemies. Pocho has a similar thing where on his tail he has like spikes coming off his tail like Thagomizers, but not entirely. But and let me see here. I have Pocho here. Let's see if I can bring him on. There you go. And so there basically is Pocho. Let's see if I can bring him. There you go. So here he is. This is my main kaiju. He must be about that big compared to him, probably, since he is a bit of a... He's a brute. This guy's like a tank, so he'd probably be bigger. So like they both have weapons on their tails, and this guy has horns. This guy has like a dome on his head that he uses to headbutt or tackle kaiju. And of course he has those big arms. They can use to grapple or punch and stuff. His arms are slightly bigger than Wrecking Bull's, but like it'd still be a pretty cool matchup. Side by side, maybe. He probably, yeah, that seems right. Just so that he has that size difference. Because while Pocho's pretty big, this guy's bigger, beefier. And I think it's just a cool way. My kaiju stand like this, horizontal to the ground. Mostly because anyone who knows me knows my favorite Godzilla is 98. And I love to have kaiju that are standing this way as a homage to that. To where most kaiju you see that generally riff off of Godzilla, they'll have it be like the standard vertical pose, standing upright, and most kaiju will be like in terms of the pose or the way he stands, there's gonna be a copy paste of that. I use 98, where he's standing like modern theropods do, the way we understand them, and so that's basically how I have it. Like if I were designing it based off like what usual kaiju artists use for their original kaiju, they'd be standing upright. It'd be just a matter of flipping one character up, but this is Pocho, my main kaiju, and this is Wrecking Bull. Just combining the aspects of like a bull's horns and a wrecking ball. So I just combined the names there, which was pretty fun. Most kaiju have a hard time naming, but this guy was pretty self-explanatory. He's got like a snapping turtle head and stuff, like a basic theropod body shape, but he's like built like a tank, and he's got those long claws too. So he's a pretty good offensive character, and that he's like an all-around fighter. You can swing his tail or you can swing his head, and he'll do some damage, which I think is really cool when designing a character. So you'll just have that guy there and stuff. Let me see. Duplicate this guy. Do that. This. Minimize. That way. You just have the characters there standing. Just about make it smaller just to fit them better. Not that this guy's gonna be that big, but yeah, something like that. There you go. There we have them standing next to each other. You can see how they're both mean green machines. And like also just shows the scope of when it comes to designing kaiju, at least my philosophy. Um just having these characters here. I have kaiju that stand upright more to that typical kaiju silhouette, but my favorite way to go is just designing them like this to where they're horizontal to the ground. Because my favorite Godzilla is 98, and I also really like, funny enough, the Odo Island Godzilla from -1, which when that leaked out, everyone was comparing it to 98 because of how it walks more hunched over. So, it was one of my favorite designs. I wish that design actually stuck around more because low-key, I don't like the -1 design. Um, just because of how similar it is to the ride design, which is from the same designer. But I do not like those Godzillas because they just look weird to me. There's things about them that I like, but I wish there's just some more tweaking going on with the designs. But yeah, that's neither here nor there because I personally really like the Odo Island version better, both in how it looks and how it like stands, which is basically similar to these guys right here. And in my stories, like they all come from basically the Hollow Earth, my version of it at least, which are these pockets of environments that are located deep within like the crust and like the tectonic plates of the Earth, to where these creatures evolved from either offshoots of dinosaurs, reptilians, mammals, things that either found their way down there or originated there, either crossbred or just evolved. There's actually a specific storyline or reason that they look this big or they are this big. Basically a substance that allows anything that ingests it to grow to immense proportions as well as mutate and gain features. So like where these guys evolved from is very far off from what the typical species would look like or the original species. And when it comes to Butcher in particular, in the origin story for him, I've done streams on it with Zimzilla on his channel. Basically the story is like this human girl finds an egg and it hatches, which Pocho here comes out of, imprints on her, and basically it's like a Godzilla series thing where they team up and fight other kaiju. Whenever there's a new kaiju threat, like Wrecking Ball here, he's gonna be basically the answer to that. So let's just have him. Did I flip the no, So just to see here, video, let's replay everything we got here. So here we have the replay where I'm getting my basic shapes. If you come to my other drawcasts before, I always start out with basic shapes to map everything out. And it all comes off of muscle memory. So I've drawn these shapes over and over again to where I can basically do it from my head, thanks to all the references I've used and all the experience and practice that I've had over the years. And basically just get to do things pretty quickly. Here we are inking it, which we did today on this stream after another kaiju I recently did not too long ago. And basically there's my entire process to where I add details, stuff like that, just to bring the kaiju to life. There we are going through the coloring and getting everything down pretty quickly. The other one took a time lapse of like 1:40. This guy, like about a minute of not real time, obviously it's time lapse time, but when you add everything together, it basically makes for a standard kaiju drawing and how I do it. If anyone has any questions or comments concerning art style or how I draw, leave them down because I might still be going on for a little bit more. Maybe I'll draw something from scratch. That way, there's a life process for it. But essentially, there's that. And then we always come up with the background. Help with that. Let's see. What should we go with? Color looks good. That now lighter color for contrast stuff. Let's see, what's this look? Too dark. I don't know. I go with the lighter color. Not green. Maybe the background should be dark. There you go. That's pretty good. Right there around. That look good? There you go. And there we have Wrecking Bull. Just gotta sign it. I sign it with the light pen. There you go. All right. Here's one I did on my own, a plesiosaur type thing. Basically, just a little plesiosaur type of creature. It's got like a turtle-ish snout and head style, like a basic plesiosaur body with a big tail for swimming. And that's always fun to design. Let's see, and down. What we got? Here's another kaiju design I got. This guy's sort of like a rival competitor species for Pocho. If you know my kaiju here, he's got some cool stuff going on. I might ink him later, but there's Pocho right here. There's Pocho. This guy, I'm still coming up with a name for him yet, because he needs a name, which I'm terrible at, but he's another brute kaiju that has a similar dome, more like a pachycephalosaur type of thing going on. I really like this head design. He got similar arms like Pocho, but he has spikes on his knuckles there. Whereas Pocho just has like basic like bumps and grooves so that he punches better, but this guy he goes in for more damage essentially. So he's got these fangs on him. There's that. And I got some other kaiju designs going on. I'll go through my storyboards, but there's Pocho in one of my stories to where he has his own lair. Stuff as a human right there. Pocho stands at about 45 meters tall, standing. And then, you look at this. Wow. This is the scene. This is Shrieker, a kaiju that basically like a bat possum hybrid. He's got that long tail, but Pocho grabs him just in time. And you can just think about where it goes from there. So, when it comes to kaiju fights, my favorite thing is always like dynamic movements and moves. Like my favorite fights from the Monsters are anything from the Wingard films because those are awesome. And then what comes close to that is like Godzilla versus the Ion Dragon from Monarch, and then Kong versus the Skull Devil. That's always a fun one to watch. And here's Beastman, who I showed off earlier, but Beastman, which is like a working name right now, and he's fighting Pocho there. He uses his long arms and nails to scratch and punch things, which is his fighting style. He's basically like an Oni Titan, like from Attack on Titan, and like he's basically inspired by like Eren, the Beast Titan, and Sanda and Gyra, the Gargantuas. So that's like his archetype, which I like to work with. And so, let's see, start something new. Drawing guide. We're doing something from scratch, so let's see here. What should we do? Something from scratch or one of my previous kaiju? Let's see. Let's see, what kaiju do I have in my roster? Let's go with something new. So, what would be a good one to start? Let's just do a quick sketch of something. That way, we can end off with a quick sketch. Or you know what? Let's just draw Godzilla. Let's just draw Godzilla. And Godzilla. Basic shit. Let's go. Those spikes, spiky boy, big old teeth. And then Godzilla is always better without ears. It's just how it is. It's not big pointy ears. I like Godzilla with no ears. Because I like it better when he's like more reptilian inspired. Basically, Godzilla is very robust. So, big old chest. Large back. Torso in there. Let's get some legs. Good old legs. Strong legs. It's gotta have something to hold him up. And then some big old calves. Feet. Like Godzilla with... I've always gone back and forth. As a kid, I always liked it when he just had 3 toes. More so kind of with 4 toes now. That's what I like. I like Godzilla with long, swoopy tails. Pretty long tail. Maybe a little too long. I like it to be proportional, so just go in there and fix that. It's better. Flip the canvas. Not flipping the canvas, but the character, just so you can make sure it's nice and smooth, like. So there you go. Nice Godzilla silhouette. Let's give him some arms. He's got some nice proportional arms. Sometimes they're shorter than most, but He's reaching out, about to attack. Yeah, that's just right. That's why I always like to be proportionate. You just use the tools here. Boom. Yeah, that's proportionate. I like this arm. This arm's a good arm. This way, so there's space. There you go. And I've drawn Godzilla quite a bit, so this is all mostly coming from muscle memory, which you can only do in time with practice, and after having done something repeatedly so often, you can just do it off the bat. So don't be discouraged by my way of drawing, because it's just a way that I've done it for so long that it just comes not easy, not entirely naturally, but it just comes off in a way that essentially I'm confident in that I'm doing the right thing in terms of just achieving the standard of what Godzilla looks like. And it can be any standard in terms of what you want it to be, because it's your art. So essentially you just want to compare yourself to yourself, not to anyone else. You can do that, but there's a right way about going about it and a wrong way. Like, say you want to have a style similar to Akira Toriyama, rest in peace, but when it comes to that, you'll just want to see what he does and then replicate it in your own way. And you might want to take influence from multiple people, like I always do. Akira Toriyama, one from who does the Mob Psycho and the One Punch Man web series, since both those anime started out as web series, not manga entirely, but and then there's multiple Godzilla artists I take influence from whenever it comes to like Godzilla-centric stuff. Of course, there's things like Matt Frank, Shinji Nishikawa, some other creators. Not even just those from the industry, but like, like web series creators. I take things from Primal, Genndy Tartakovsky, even The Simpsons, Matt Groening style. Just because I like how he simplifies his things and his design. Like I said, only compare yourself to yourself when it comes to skill level, and compare yourself to others when it comes to the standards of like what you want to achieve with your own style. Never take it as like who's better. Just that, how close are you to achieving the goal you set out to get, Some detail there. I don't want to use gills, I like right here, so some dots. His face looks a little weird, so I'll fix up that face. At least. Let's make his face. This side of his face is always tricky to me, just because there's a lot that goes into it. There you go. No sketch of that skill there. Here's the sketch, but without reference, mostly just off of muscle memory. With reference, it'd be 10 times better. Ugh. In the sense that it'd be more to something like a completely thought out, drawn out illustration, but for just this quick sketch, it's pretty cool. And you can do this kind of stuff with anything, really. And like I said, just keep practicing, keep up with using reference, and then eventually you won't have to look for references, in the sense that you'll have a pretty clear mental image in your mind, to which if you get stumped again, just look for it. Look for a physical reference, a reference that's actually there, so that you know you have something to look at other than your imagination. Because well, that's a neat skill to have. Having the reference there will help you out in the long run. And again, if anyone has any comments or questions, leave them below. That way I can just get a grasp of what we can talk about. Since Drawcast is mostly just for drawing, anything related to it, art style chat, stuff like that. So that we can just get a grasp of, just how things are going. If there's anything going on in your life, feel free to leave a brief thing. Let's see. I was done with a little reference sketch to the side. But Testing out some of the music going on in the background here. Mostly just from the library of stuff StreamYard has. Testing out some of the music going on in the background here. Hopefully there's no echo from that, but I also have my stream playing on in the background just to keep tabs on it. Make sure things are going smoothly, but like I said, for the most part, just chilling out, drawing, stuff like that. I wonder if there's any. How do I share invites? Who's online? See here. Cool. Alright. I guess I'll call it a night with that. Going a little over 2 hours, so about time for grabbing some dinner or something. But thanks for everyone who hopped on, stayed on for a little bit just to watch me draw. Hopefully, we'll start to get more people in terms of like guests to talk about drawing and stuff. Um, I'll probably start to make these a regular thing, more so since we're going on like maybe every other 2 days. Um, since at the moment I am starting to get a little bit more free time when it comes to work, unfortunately, and fortunately, because things like the fires, getting hours cut, just stuff like that, it's been really affecting me. So hopefully we can get things up started to where we can make this more of a regular thing and eventually work our way up to getting I guess all the things that comes with the territory, like getting monetized, stuff like that, sponsors, and any other collaborations going on. So big thanks to everyone who stopped by and joined. Um, Let me know in the comments below, even after the fact, if there's anything you want to see in regards to topics or subjects you want to see for the drawcasts. Again, it's basically wherever the place where you want to see me draw, maybe some others draw. Hopefully, we'll get to the point where I can do co-streaming, and we can all stream our own drawing because I want to do things like kaiju, like kaiju showdown, where basically we each get a description for a kaiju, and then from that, me and another contestant will basically like draw our interpretations of that. And at the end of the day, we just see who has the cooler drawing, not in terms of like penmanship or artistic ability, but just who has the cooler creature design. Just a little friendly competition going there. So hopefully I can organize that in the future. As of now, it's just going to be drawing, talking about art and stuff when it comes to kaiju, character design, even outside of just kaiju, but character design in general, since I do dabble in other character design illustrations, for like regular humans, furries, scalies, whatever, sonas, stuff like that. I dabble in a little bit of everything. But basically, thanks for everything. Let's just go through a quick. We're finishing off with this Godzilla sketches. Basically, we finished off Sickleback. We have here. We finished this guy today. We started him on the other stream. This is one we made from scratch together. Just ended off. Let's play the video. Replay. So we'll see here. As I'm showing out everything again, I do have a commission tier open where all proceeds from that will go towards charities, fundraisers, relief for the people affected by the fires in LA, and animal shelters and whatnot, stuff like that. And then I have regular commissions open to help me get better gear, pay bills, whatnot. That way I can bring you guys more content like this if that's what you're into, because I love doing this stuff. Drawing is one of my biggest passions that I want to turn into a career. My end goal, if anyone, I've shared this with a few people, but I want to have like a company on par with Sanrio with kaiju characters. So like I want to see my characters on anything from water bottles to stickers, t-shirts, stuff like that, and build basically this whole brand to where kaiju are the main focus, to help get it more into the mainstream, since like everybody knows Hello Kitty, and like everybody knows Godzilla, but I wouldn't say it's as big as brand as Hello Kitty is, even just in like America or something. And hopefully with my stuff we can bring that here to the wider scope of the kaiju fandom, because it is something that deeply moves me and all my friends and such. Let's see. Commenting the comment. Let's see. I might open the floor in case if anyone wants to hop on, since it's a little early in the night, depending. But I know some of my friends live in different time zones. But let's see. I might open the floor up. Maybe we won't end it now. Let's see. Um, And then let's use the replay of this guy to where. There you go, replay. So like I said, all down to understanding basic shapes and forms, and just experimenting with what you want to do with character design. We'll do a replay of our sketches, just to show everybody what we've been up to. So, I guess it's smart what I said, but also, let's see, what other ambitions do I got? Obviously, I want to make, uh, thanks, Sim. Hopefully you're doing all right. Have fun, I guess. Stay safe out there. And then, like I said, one of my other ambitions is basically making animated kaiju films, because animated films in general are on the decline, or are probably dead in the water most part. Most of what you see right now in the game are basically film adaptations of cartoons and stuff. So like the Steven Universe movie, I don't even think that was in theaters though. The My Little Pony movie is like one of the earliest ones, and then of course any other anime film that gets imported over, shown overseas from Japan. But animated films have been on the decline ever since Pixar and stuff came out with the 3D films, and that took over the space. But I think 2D animation is an untapped reservoir for kaiju material, because, like, essentially, when it comes to what you can do in animation, there's a lot to pull from, and I essentially just like having cool artwork that you can show off, because it is a lot of work. Like I said, most of my style is mostly prioritizing simplification, so that's easier for things to animate, since most kaiju If they're either well designed or very popular, they will have complexities to them. Like look at Godzilla minus one or Shin Godzilla. Designs like those have complex working system that you can't simplify. Like if you know Crayon Shinchan, before Shin Godzilla even came out, they showed that design in Crayon Shinchan, which it was simplified for animation, and it looks really good. It's a cool simplification of Shin Godzilla. And whenever you do that, you have to get really creative with it so that it doesn't look too boring or too plain, but it still has some of the complexities that the design comes with. So whenever you have something like that to where you can show off, like this guy right here, if I were to ink it out and animate it, it would be pretty easy to animate something like this and still have it in scale and proportions to where it can still feel like a giant monster. There's films that have elements of that, like the Iron Giant. Even if the Iron Giant was is 3D animated, that film really shows the scale of it well. You have animated shows that have like moments like a Fear End. That show had like a dragon fight. That was really cool and 2D animated. There's like other shows like I think Castlevania that have some like giant monsters. I don't think like kaiju size, but like dragon size, typical dragon size or monster size. And they're all really cool fights. And I think it's an untapped well of potential because having giant monsters in animated form is basically what my entire thing is here. See if I can just find something so that I can basically just show you. But yeah, like with these guys, like I can imagine, and hopefully you guys can imagine, an animated film with this guy, because essentially that's what I designed it for. So you're gonna basically have like this guy, like I said, rampaging through a city, and I've done like some animations before where I just basically test out the waters, and that way I can have an idea of how these guys will work in an animated space. But I think there's actually like what's that technique called where you have essentially it started out with Tarzan and Treasure Planet did it where it's like a 3D environment with 2D painted backgrounds, or where all the models are painted over in 2D so that it appears 2D but has that 3D element to it. Deep Canvas, I believe it was called Deep Canvas. And essentially I was imagining like having that as like the backdrop in the setting, and then you animate the 2D monsters into it to where that way it's easier to have these characters on screen um, and fighting and still have that sense of scale. Because that's important in any medium when it comes to kaiju movies. And of course, you can mess with the style of it. Nothing has to be as realistic as it needs. You can have style to it. Like the Wingard films are very stylistic in how they show their fights and monsters. They're not as weighty as something like they did in 2014, where you can feel all the weight and the strength that it takes to move something like Godzilla. Um, but with the Wingard films, he plays with it, and they're basically moving and running around the city and the environment in a way to where it's like a WWE match, which is what I like. I like that style of fighting, and even something like Monarch's fight with the Ion Dragon. Um, and Godzilla, I love the camera movements where it feels like they're throwing each other around. Um, and they're not as like weighty as something like when Godzilla fought the Mutos, and you felt like it was very realistic and stylistic in that way. But the style with the Wingard films is something I really want to go back to when it comes to my monsters, and like you can expect that with how I want to direct things. Because like if I showed you uh, my previous panels, were basically like this is like how I would do my fighting styles. And such to where like they're basically wrestling each other, grappling each other, trying to kill each other and stuff. And like I said, like here, grabs his tail and like he basically I just body slam like onto the ground. So boom, and it comes down, oh, like that. And so basically, that's just my idea of having a kaiju fight play out into the animation. I think would be really cool. And with that, that's going to be finishing it off here. So we'll just leave off with what we started. Thanks for everyone that came around. Thanks to them who stopped by to give me a boost. There's a little boost there for a while. But thanks, everyone. Expect more. And we'll end it off there. So thank you, everyone. Have a good one. Stay safe out there, Kaiju Seekers.